The extraordinary CEMAC summit has ended in Yaoundé with far-reaching recommendations aimed at redressing the precarious economic situation of the sub-region. Watch out for the recommendations and lessons from the summit in this newscast. The Cameroon Development Cooperation Board's chair says if the cooperation is not rescued financially, it will crumble. Hope Sona Ibai was drawing the attention of the government during a board meeting that held in Limbe. Delegations of teams to play Total Energy AFCON 2021 in the West expressed satisfaction with the infrastructure in the region. They have been visiting the West Regional capital, Bafoussam, after the draw ceremony. And those are top stories. Good evening and thanks for joining us on this edition of the 7:30 News. I'm Gladys Tata on Anchor.
Despite our efforts, COVID-19 plunged many families into mourning and seriously hampered the functioning of our economy and society.
Welcome back. The Conference of Heads of State of CEMAC has adopted far-reaching measures during the extraordinary summit that would jolt the CEMAC economies out of their precarious situation. The success of the summit in Yaoundé is largely attributed to the leadership of President Paul Biya. Chief Unity Palace correspondent Ashin Yengti tells us more.
The extraordinary summit of heads of state of the Central African Economic and Monetary Community was a much-anticipated rendezvous. In view of the not-too-bright situational report within the sub-region, the participation of the quasi-totality of CEMAC heads of state eloquently testifies to the importance they accord to the major question on the agenda, the ailing CEMAC economy. Theodore Obiangema Mbazogo of Equatorial Guinea, Idris Deby Itno of Chad, Ali Bongo Ondimba of Gabon, Faustin Archange Touadera of the Central African Republic, Denis Sassou Nguesso of Congo, represented by his Prime Minister, and of course the host, President Paul Biya of Cameroon, chairperson of the Conference of Heads of State. To these sovereigns are added representatives of the World Bank, the International Monetary Fund, the African Development Bank and France, all of them strategic international partners. President Biya's masterly coordination of deliberations, for the first time unfolding by video conference because of the COVID-19 pandemic, silences many lingering questions on him and the sub-region as a whole. The summit was engaging in an atmosphere of serenity, mutual understanding and entente cordial. President Paul Biya was in his double capacity as chairperson and the wise man of the sub-region, pointing the direction for the others to follow. His non-complacent diagnosis of the economy and the antidote he prescribed were of a mathematical precision.
government can really come in to augment government assistance to the schools, so that the teachers of the private should at least have the feeling that they are also serving the nation.
Government has made known her commitment to address these concerns.
We noticed in the past that teachers of the private sector have complained about the salaries that they receive and the fact that they don't benefit from the 3 months of summer vacation. The government also is very interested in making sure that children who come out of our private schools get the same quality as those in the public schools.
In Cameroon, out of about 17,000 lay private primary schools, only close to 3,000 meet the requirements for government subvention.
Officials of the Central and Devolved Services of the Ministry of Basic Education are meeting in Yaoundé to prepare for the start of the 2021-2022 school year scheduled for September 6, 2021. Chaired by Basic Education Minister Professor Laurent Serge Tundingwa, the assembly is also an occasion to assess the 2020-2021 school year. Alice Mbey has more.
The modernization and resilience of the education system for quality education and learning was amongst the ideas discussed during the meeting of officials of the centralized and dissolved services at the Ministry of Basic Education, aimed at preparing the 2001-2022 school resumption.
We have put in place some methods to continue our former school programs. Now we are moving towards our objective. We have to readjust what we have been doing before. We have new pedagogic tools to continue our programs.
Administrative, financial and health strategies were also ideas put forward to enhance education.
With COVID-19, we could no longer teach only face-to-face. We had now to move onto what we call hybrid teaching. We are currently, with a new curriculum, undergoing continuous training.
During the meeting, assessment of competitive exams, inclusive education, pedagogic, financial and sanitary situations were examined, as well as the security situation of the Northwest and the Southwest regions.
Disturbing violence and insecurity compounded by the threat of COVID-19 pandemic continue to exert pressure on the humanitarian assistance in Cameroon. Thus, notwithstanding, the government has addressed the major humanitarian needs with the help of several partners, national and international organizations. Constantine Baum in the following report takes a look at the contribution of non-governmental organizations.
The humanitarian needs in Cameroon continue to increase due to the escalation and intensification of violence. The outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic aggravated the situation. Humanitarian aid has helped address the needs of the population.
Building peace in the mind of people, that is the spirit, the foundation of the UNESCO. That is where fight starts. So we work with community media to identify the difference between information and misinformation.
The humanitarian aid is being implemented not only by the UN agencies, as there are many international NGOs in the field. One such is Plan International, with activities in the Northwest, Southwest, as well as the Far North region. The body is contributing to create a protected environment for girls and boys affected by the crisis. A total of 5,560 persons were reached out this month in the Northwest and Southwest regions by Plan International for general food distribution and hygiene promotion messages.
Authorities of the National Commission for Disarmament, Demobilization and Reintegration have been working with sectoral partners to ensure the reintegration of ex-fighters and associates of Boko Haram presently at the center in Meri. Stakeholders have conceived projects which take into consideration the specific needs of the beneficiary, as Ayok John Ashu tells us from CRTV Far North in Marwa.
A new course for these new converts entails a holistic and multi-sectoral approach taking into consideration the specific needs of each category.
I'm part of the initiative, and we have been already doing something. We will continue to do it, to train women community leaders, to make sure those leaders train. We will continue to coach them at the level of their community, to make sure they have concrete activities.
Officials of the DDR have been laying down strategies with sectoral partners for a brighter perspective for the ex-fighters and associates of Boko Haram.
We have to support those young people in order to take them in charge in our project of development.
With the imminent construction of a permanent DDR center at Kmer, UN agencies like the International Organization for Migration, a key partner of the Cameroon government since the opening of the Kmer Transit Center, would facilitate the reinsertion of the penitent into society.
Let's move to the southwest region to talk on the neonatal unit of the Buea Regional Hospital, which is making strides in catering for premature babies with the implementation of the kangaroo mother care method. According to medical personnel of the hospital, the number of such categories of children are on the rise as a result of teenage pregnancies and the lack of prenatal care. Ndoto Daila of CRTV Southwest presents the unit.
Created in April 2020, the neonatology unit of the Buea Regional Hospital has served as a solution in reducing neonatal deaths of preterm and low birth weight babies.
Those who are delivered before 37 weeks of gestational age and the low birth weight babies, so those delivered with a weight less than 2.5 kilograms.
The unit, which is a donation by the Fondation Kangaroo Cameroon with the support of Grant Challenges Canada, Nutrition International, the government of Cameroon and the World Bank, is intended for a 2-year program on the implementation of the kangaroo mother care method.
We mimic the action of the animal by placing the baby on the chest of any carrier for the child to receive a lot of heat and a lot of care from that position. The second pillar is about the nutrition, which is exclusive breastfeeding except some specific condition. We have the incubator rooms, we have the stabilization room, and we have the OPD, meaning those who have been discharged. So when they come in a critical situation and they need intensive care, we put them in incubator.
The unit has, within a space of 7 months, from January to August 2021, registered 223 babies with such complications, coupled with others referred from other parts of the region.
There has been an increase in the number of premature babies with low birth weight at the neonatology unit of the Buea Regional Hospital. According to health personnel of the unit, the current situation poses a challenge and needs quick attention to remedy the situation. More on this with Femi Boinui Aise from CRTV Southwest in Buea.
The neonatology unit of the Buea Regional Hospital was created to cater to the needs of premature babies and low birth weight babies using the kangaroo method. Very recently, there's been an influx of premature babies and babies with low birth weight, more than double the number as compared to that of last year.
There is really a burden of premature babies and low birth weight babies because we have a lot of adolescent and young adults becoming pregnant due to crises that we are having. They are not going to school, they are not having means to follow up properly their pregnancy, resulting with either premature delivering or low birth weight children.
The situation is further compounded with the increase in the number of abandoned premature babies and babies orphaned at birth, as implementing exclusive breastfeeding, which is one of the components of the kangaroo mother care, remains a challenge.
The breast milk bank that we are having here in the hospital is not more existing. So for those not having their mothers or any family relative, because another possibility is that within the family there is somebody who is breastfeeding, the person can breastfeed if there is no particular contraindication, but if not, we are forced to use the formula.
For now, reviving the defunct breast milk bank is crucial in alleviating the challenges associated with infant nutrition at the neonatology unit of the Buea Regional Hospital.
I urge you once again to put on your face masks, to wash your hands regularly, and to consult a physician or any other health personnel if you notice any symptoms.
On our COVID-19 slot tonight, we continue talking about the Delta variant of the coronavirus, which happens to be one of the deadly viruses. And health experts say this variant has some similarities with other variants of the coronavirus. But what exactly are the differences between the Delta variant and other variants of the coronavirus? Baldwin Sama and his guest, Dr. Joseph Fokam, are the Public Health Emergency Center. For more. Good evening, Baldwin. You're welcome.
Good evening to you, Gladys Tata. It is considered as the most deadly for the different variants of the coronavirus. We're talking about the Delta variants, but what exactly is the difference between this Delta variant and other variants of the coronavirus? Let's discuss that with our guest tonight, Dr. Joseph Fokam, who is a virologist. Good evening to you, Doctor.
Good evening, Baldwin.
What are the major differences between the Delta variant and other variants of the coronavirus?
Baldwin, so far we know of 4 variants of concern, and 3 of these variants have been isolated within our context. For instance, we have the Alpha variant from British, the Beta variant from South Africa, and recently the Delta variant from India. And what we know from this variant is that the Delta variant, for instance, has more than 50% more transmissibility as compared to the Alpha variant, which itself already has more than 50% risk of transmission as compared to the original strain from China. Then what we also know is the recently discovered variant, the Delta variant, also have a higher risk of mortality as compared to the previous one. And that's why in the context where we believe there might be some circulation of this variant in our context also, we really want everybody now to go out for vaccination while respecting the other barriers measures also, because the system has in place a good surveillance and control strategy which requires also the adherence of the community to make sure we should be able to mitigate this variant in our context.
Thank you so much, Dr. Joseph Fokam. The Delta variant has a high risk as far as mortality is concerned. What we should simply do is to adhere to the advice as far as vaccination against the coronavirus is concerned. The vaccination campaign continues in the 10 different regions of the country, and we should equally continue respecting different outlined barrier measures. Back to you, Gladys Tata.
Thank you very much, Baldwin Sama, and to our guest, Dr. Fokam. The new board chair of the Cameroon Development Corporation, the CDC, has appealed to government not to relent to assist the corporation financially. Hope Sonaibai was speaking during a board meeting of the corporation in Limbe, where he underlined that if given financial assistance, the CDC will continue to work for the development and welfare of the people of the Southwest and Northwest regions. Details with Henry McCollin, CRTV Boya.
The board meeting, which lasted for hours, was described as very crucial by officials of CDC because, as they put it, the meeting had to define the path that CDC has to take in order to survive the storm.
Basically, is to look at the performance indicators in the past year, the budget, and how the budget was consumed, and report of the auditors. We have approved the accounts. We took note of the extremely difficult situations under which the CDC is functioning today because of the socio-political crisis.
Apart from discussing strategies to get CDC out of its current quagmire, the meeting also gave the new board chair the possibility to understand the state of affairs at CDC and how the corporation functions.
As we express our gratitude to government for the support, we plead for more support and for more attention to be given to CDC based on its huge socioeconomic role.
In attendance were representatives of key ministries, the General Manager of CDC, Franklin Goningier, and the governors of the Southwest and Northwest regions of Cameroon, that is, Bena Okalia Bilai and Lille Afrique. By the close of the meeting, the board chair, Hope Sonaibai, said they will do everything to keep the corporation alive, as well as fight for the interest of workers.
Let's now talk politics, where CPDM supporters of Ngomzap in the Nyong and So West section have been challenged to bury their differences and elect capable men, women and youths who can propagate the ideologies of the CPDM party and take them to victory in future elections. The call was made by the president of the Electoral Commission for the reorganization of CPDM basic organs in Ngomzap, Mbala Eyinga Cecile, as she launched this exercise. Details with Alice Mbey.
The massive turnout of the CPDM militants at the Ngumesap Party Hall was to participate in the launching ceremony of activities for the elections of basic organs of CPDM of the 25 subsections, 99 basic committees, and 199 sales.
We have to stick to the legislation. We have to stick to the circular. We will stick also to the note of the Secretary General of the CPDM. We have to work in solidarity. We have to work in transparency. And what we need also is to ensure the inclusion of all.
The Electoral Committee has been urged to respect the legal text binding the elections signed by the President of the National Committee. They were equally called upon by one of their elites, Gregoire Owona, through his representative, to practice normal, non-discriminatory, disciplined and peaceful elections. The ceremony was also an occasion to raise funds to support the elections.
And in a related development, CPDM supporters in the Mayo-Danai North section have equally been urged to make proof of discipline and teamwork so as to strategize ahead of future electoral contests. The recommendation was echoed to them in Maga by the CPDM envoy for the renewal of basic organs in the Mayo-Danai North section, Usmanu Osmanu. We have details with Henry Tato Ekambi from CRTV Far North in Marwa.
Remobilizing grassroots supporters, re-strategizing with the aim of paving the way for more victories are some of the recommendations spelled out to newly designated executive members of basic organs of the CPDM in the Mayo-Danai North section. The CPDM envoy for the renewal of basic organs for the section, Usmanu Umara, who gave the recommendations, also reminded the grassroots leaders of the criteria to choose executive members of the basic organs. While congratulating them on their designation, the CPDM envoy said he expects much from the section, especially with the successes they have recorded in the past.
They have to observe the measure prescribed by the hierarchy of the party, the national president and the secretary general of the CPDM.
The newly installed grassroots leaders also took the engagement to spare no effort to assure landslide victories for their parties in the future.
In sports, the delegation of the countries drawn in Group B are in the West region to assess the progress of infrastructural development that will host them during the 2021 Total Energy Africa Cup of Nations. The team has been to Bafoussam, Bangu and Bana, as you tell us, Chanceline Nanze in Bafoussam.
They came, they saw, and they were satisfied. The interest of the delegations from Senegal, Zimbabwe, Guinea, and Malawi was the turf, first aid rooms, lockers, and massage rooms of the Bafoussam Omnisport Stadium that will host games of Group B.
The turf, obviously, it needs some bit of improvement, and they promised that they work on it. But we're happy. It's a remote area, and we didn't expect to get a ground like this. But we're so happy to bring football to this part of the world.
Everything looks great. Though there are other things that they're going to fix. We hope when the tournament starts, everything will be in order as what we are expecting.
Zimbabwe and Malawi will train at the Bafang Municipal Stadium, closest to Hotel La Vallée de Bana, where both teams will be lodged. As for the hotel itself, Coach Mark Mwasi thinks some modifications need to be made.
The beds, twin beds for the players are very small.
Senegal and Guinea, on their part, will sojourn at Tajidor Garden Palace in Bangu. All four delegations are unanimous that the climate of the West region is conducive for good football.
The Deputy Director General of CRTV, who equally doubles as the Chief Project Manager of the just-ended Total AFCON 2021 draw, has congratulated the personnel implicated during the transmission of national and international signals by the State Corporation broadcaster. Emmanuel Wongibe was speaking in an evaluation meeting that brought together individuals who took part in the event. He equally urged them to keep the flames ablaze ahead of the AFCON 2021. Details with Romeo Kenny.
The signals were impeccable for public consumption. The Cameroon Radio Television CRTV was at the heart of the event with its finest battery of technicians and reporters dispatched for the purpose. In an evaluation meeting, the Chief Project Manager, Emmanuel Wongibe, has heard the tack and style of staff, urging them to maintain instincts of professionalism. Different officials involved in the production chain also presented balance sheet of work organization. Amendments and recommendations have also been made for better productivity. Preceding, different commentators at Just Ended Shan 2020 have also assessed performances during the tournament in the presence of the managing editor of TV's Central Newsroom. Madeleine Sopi-Koto prescribes complementarity and bilingualism to reporters during upcoming matches of AFCON 2021.
I just understood after the result of the research that we should watch out against, monopolizing our speech. We should watch out against when to cut in, when to come in with what. We should watch out against just speaking and going on. If somebody is saying something, if you're coming in, you should be able to add something very, very important to what the person is saying. And that is what we have been working on. Now we understand that we have to work together. We have to prepare the matches together. We have to master the temperament of the other so that when we come on, we should be able to do a far better job.
In a nutshell, CRTV is mobilized for the AFCON Total Energies 2021.
That's the package we put together for you on this edition of the 7:30 News. Thanks for watching. Romeo Trisenkoff will be here at 8:30 for the news in French. Join Freddy Etabisson as from tomorrow for the weekend news. I'll be back on Monday. Thanks and good night.
Despite our efforts, COVID-19 plunged many families into mourning and seriously hampered the functioning of our economy and society.